ain't nobody successful on their own. They build themselves a team. They look at what skills they lack, what areas they aren't the best at, and they find people who are going to support and bring them up. And that is what I did when I started my journey on filming and shooting content on YouTube. Was for all people moving to Northern Colorado. I built a team. I knew after the first 5 videos that there was no way in hell that I was going to edit and continue shooting film. So I went out, sought out, and found a video editor. And I came across this editor. His name was Dima, who happened to live in Ukraine. And since that time, we have shot and edited over 200 videos together. And today, while we are focusing on live a question and answer, so please, if you're watching, please, feel free, ask questions. I've got a list of questions that people have sent in about all things Northern Colorado, Fort Collins, moving to Fort Collins. But feel free to ask a question, and would be happy to answer as best as I can. But that being said, Dima and I have had a relationship for the last 3 years. The focus on today's video is to raise money for this individual and his family who happen to live in Ukraine and have been over the last year and have moved multiple times to remain safe. And all the entire time have continued to deliver projects, have continued to be nothing but respectful, professional. And the perspective that I have in my life and my family's life was, changed to this entire time, just always knowing like how amazing we have it here. But over about 3 weeks ago, Dima asked me to prepay for 3 videos, and he never once had asked me to do that. So I said, absolutely, sure, happy to. And he then, after that, said, hey, I bought myself a generator in the event that another rocket hits the power plant and we lose internet and power. And it just hit me. Like we were looking all year of what we were going to do as a give for Sukup Real Estate Services. And this is going to be our give for the year. And then we kind of started talking as a team of like, how can we make this even more impactful? And we thought, let's do a GoFundMe. People know our story. We work with many families moving here to Northern Colorado, and we've talked to them about kind of our processes, how we do it, who we worked with, our Ukrainian video editor. And so we thought, people have heard the story, have been touched, and obviously probably know what's going on in Ukraine and Russia. So let's give people an opportunity to contribute and help along. And so today, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I didn't think about this very much, but we are going to do a live feed to raise funds for Dima through a GoFundMe, which at this point, our goal was $4,000. And after what our give will be, which is $2,250, we are going to far exceed that goal by maybe a couple $1,000s. So in the comment section, if you are watching this live on YouTube, let's see here, stop sharing. In the comment section is a link to the GoFundMe. And if you feel it in your heart, whether it's $5, 10, 15, we've received some amazing donations, and I'm absolutely going to thank those individuals that have donated. So that being said, I do want to do a quick introduction video to Dima. So if you guys are watching, here is going to be Dima, who sent us out a video to kind of share with you guys, to kind of show what they're experiencing right now. So definitely.
Patrick, hello everyone. My name is Dima. I'm from Ukraine. I'm video editor. I've known Patrick for the last 3 years. I really appreciate our friendship and partnership. We create with him and your team cool videos about life in Fort Collins and Northern Colorado. I was very excited when I found out that Patrick organized a fundraiser to support me and my family. Thank you very much for this. We really appreciate this. We live in Zaporizhia when Russia launched a full-scale war against Ukraine. Now, my family and I have moved to Lviv, and I hope that we'll be safer here. But the shelling of civilian infrastructure and initial attacks of civilian population doesn't stop. I would like to thank our soldiers who defend our freedom and our right to live in free Ukraine. We'll hope that this war will end soon. Thank you so much, Patrick, your family, your team, and thanks to each of you for your support. We really appreciate this. Thank you so much.
So that is Dima, and again, we are going to far exceed our $4,000 goal. I'm excited to give that to him, and the reasoning that we thought about giving it to him was because financial constraints dictate a lot of our decisions in life, and we don't want that to be the case. If he and his family need to move again, or do something to allow them the safety that they need, we don't want, at least for the short term, the finances to be a constraint. So I'm super, super excited and, grateful for everybody who's helped, Dima and his family. That is just awesome. So thank you very much. But let's also jump into some question and answers. Interesting. I love Fort Collins, but why is the crime rate so high? Interesting. I think there's parts of town and parts of the area that definitely have some crime, but overall, I think Fort Collins is a pretty well kept, well ran, maintained community. And yes, but there are absolutely areas. There's parts of North Fort Collins. It's specific neighborhoods that have higher crime rates. But generally speaking, I think personally, when I see a shooting or a murder, it is like front page news, and it's very rare where not to bang on Aurora more than they already get kind of rung on, but I think it's like there was the last week, and I think each day over like 5 days there was like a drive-by, a shooting, a fire. I mean, it was just like, geez. I mean, and Aurora is massive, so it's not necessarily fair to compare that by any means. But I think generally in Fort Collins, it's a pretty safe area. On Friday nights when I go down in Old Town, like the lighting ceremony. Now, granted, there was a ton of people at the lighting ceremony, and it did feel overwhelming. And so I would say, I'm very fortunate over the last years, I've been able to go to kind of a private patio. So I haven't experienced kind of the craziness that is Old Town Square for that lighting ceremony. But generally speaking, on a Friday night, anytime during the year, up until about midnight, 1 a.m., I would walk around Old Town with my family and feel completely safe. Same thing goes with most neighborhoods, well lit, parks. I just don't have any type of concern, but I know that there is crime. I definitely think it's just a matter of perspective. And for me, coming from living in, born and raised here in Fort Collins, don't see it as too big of an issue. So let's see here. Another kind of common question asked is, how is the traffic? And this too is perspective, because, people are, coming from all over the country and world even, and people who have been born and raised here in Fort Collins, and their perspectives on the traffic are, completely different. And so, I personally think, yes, there are areas, even like the grid system got ragged on. And I was talking with somebody who's a kind of a Larimer County assessor. And, as far as having a grid system, there's no one main road that's going to just be totally, totally congested. And also, if the back roads, like we were talking about, like Ziegler to Timberline to Jefferson to get downtown from the southeast side of town in Fossil Lake Ranch, like you could get downtown if you took those back roads in probably like 10 to 13 minutes, which is on the far southeast side of town all the way to Old Town. So I personally don't think the traffic's too bad, but I definitely know that there are some people from, especially born and raised here in Fort Collins, that are like, the city's traffic's crazy, the infrastructure is not built for it. And then, also the drivers. There is a consistent thread of comments on our YouTube channel about how terrible our drivers are. And maybe I think that I can be driving a little bit quick at times. I don't think there's too much road rage, but there are a lot of college students here. And that was kind of like maybe the theory behind that, of why the traffic or the drivers are so bad, because they're young, drunk college kids. And that very well could be the case. I haven't experienced it too bad. I can say that there are times when I'm wanting to be somewhere very fast and people are driving slow, or times where I'm just like lollygagging, driving, and somebody speeds behind me and goes, So I think you're probably going to get that anywhere you go. Generally speaking, though, haven't experienced too bad of traffic, except on Friday nights, or even Harmony and I-25 going into Timnath, with how many people live in Timnath but work in Fort Collins, coming into Fort Collins in the morning and going to Timnath in the evening. I-25 and Harmony can absolutely be a bottleneck and congested. So there needs to be some kind of relief on those arteries. So one of the things that I want to jump in here and just say thank you to some of the people that have already given some money to Dima on the GoFundMe. Again, in the comment section is a link to the GoFundMe, and our goal is $4,000. And Sukup Real Estate actually is going to be donating $2,250. So we have surpassed our goal by $1,500. And I just want to say, Jerry, thanks. In Hawaii, buddy Ben, I haven't talked to him too often or too frequently, but dropped 75. Andrew from Houston, and actually Kendra from Houston as well. Thank you both very much. My mom, Bill, thank you. Jeff and Scott, just had lunch with Scott yesterday. Super, super nice give. Thank you. And thank you, Jeff. Sunil here in Fort Collins, appreciate what you're doing. The entrepreneur that you are, Calvin and Jackie and Anonymous, Matt Raleigh from Georgia, Sina from California, Scott, thank you very much. Roddy from California, Derek Mason, appreciate you. Braulio, I appreciate you and your family. Thank you for being the kind of the trailblazer to come here to Fort Collins and bring Jeff and now a really good buddy, of mine, both Jeff and Cam, that we get to hang out. I know this gift from Connor is actually from one of his mentors, Jim. So thank you, Jim. My dad gave $500. Cameron, thank you very much. My brother-in-law, Kyle. And then Connor, on top of the give that Sukup Real Estate gave of $2,200, Connor gave an additional $500. And I know that Zach's going to be doing his give sometime. He did a 2-for-1 match, which I think actually equated to about $350. So, we'll hold Zach's feet to the fire and make sure that money's dropped off and sent over to Dima and his family. What we're going to do is, when this GoFundMe finishes and is complete at the end of this, YouTube live, is we'll end the fundraiser and then get the transfer of the funds and get those sent over to Dima. So jumping back into question and answers, then my next question was actually, how is the crime in Fort Collins? So I kind of already have dove into that a little bit, but following that is, how soon should someone connect with a realtor when moving to Northern Colorado? And as the market is shifting, this too is shifting. About 6 to 8 months ago, when people were having to put 3, 4, 5, my record is 9 offers. I am sorry, Rob. It was you are still the holder of that, and I don't think we'll ever see that again, of having to put 9 offers on before getting a property under contract. But when you were having to put 9 offers on a property, you were having to look and wait for weeks to see if a property came on, and if it did, if you were going to offer on anything that weekend. But the average that I was putting on as far as offers goes was about 4 to 5 offers per client until they got under contract. So what I would have told them at that time was 30 to 45 days to close, probably anywhere from 4 to 5 offers, which is 7 days, so 28 days. So another 30 days right there. So that's 60 days, and then a 30-day buffer. So I would say 90 days, minimum, so that you have opportunity to see what properties come onto the market, see if there's anything that you like, want to go tour, all of that good stuff. So I would have said 90 days minimum to have a comfortable move. Now with the market shifting a little bit, inventory has peaked up a little bit. Now we are in kind of a seasonally slow new inventory time of year. So you might have to wait an extra few weeks to see, because hey, maybe a property doesn't come on this weekend or next weekend, but it's the 3rd and we do like it. But that being said, we are seeing great success with when you do find a house, putting on an offer and getting that property under contract. So I would say it would probably still stay in that 60 to 75 day minimum, preferably 90 days, so that you have kind of a buffer on both ends. A couple weeks on the front side to go view homes, and a couple weeks on the back side so that you can close, move, and not have to be rushed too much with that goes. So I would say in our current market, how early should somebody reach out to a realtor? Well, I would say at minimum, probably 75 days from like the day that they need to get rocking and rolling, more so up to 90 days, but that's mostly to build a relationship. You're going to want to feel each other out, have a Zoom call if you're moving from out of state, moving from out of country, or a phone call, ask questions. We kind of have a drip campaign. Me and my team, we work with a lot of people from all over the country and world. And we have kind of like a 4 to 5 email process to really get all of the information that we need and connect you with good, reputable lenders here in town that will help solidify our relationship and help, make a smoother transaction for you and yours. So I would say in our current market, 75 days, but still preferably 90 days minimum that you should reach out and talk to a realtor. We work with people who've reached out to us that are 2 years out. We have, and I love these guys. I follow them on Instagram. They're both like Brazilian jiu-jitsu I guess artists. I don't know what would you, athletes, but they are in South Carolina, cool area. Their kiddo is in a very desirable school district. So they are actually looking for the summer of 2024. Now, granted, a lot of realtors wouldn't work with folks that are that far out. We enjoy building relationships, and we've actually already had a couple conversations, have, connected over Instagram, and it's been a good, building of a relationship so that when that time comes, if that time comes, because things change, so they might never ever move to Northern Colorado, which is totally cool. We will have an amazing relationship, and it will be just second nature for us to work together, how we communicate. And so I would say even up to 2 years, if you really are dead set on connecting and getting your kind of ducks in a row, don't hesitate to reach out with us. So that's kind of that's kind of where I'd be at 90 days. But as far as 2 years out, we've been reached out to. Next one. Is it easy to find friends or communities in Fort Collins in Northern Colorado? And this one kind of spoke to my heart too, because I think it's difficult. Fort Collins is a community that is, there's a lot of people. I just had lunch with somebody, today that I've known for, over a decade. And I've, been here for almost 34 years on this planet, and all of it in Fort Collins. And I've been lucky enough to build great relationships with a lot of people who have stuck around and have friends and family and having kids and all that kind of stuff. So I'm fortunate, and I probably have taken for granted how maybe difficult it could be for somebody coming in from out of town. You have to be extremely intentional about building those relationships, getting involved with book clubs. There's actually, there's an example. There is a group of guys that we do kind of a once a month. We're trying to do once a month, but it's turning out to be like once a quarter or twice a year, just because we're all busy. But our wives, not including mine, she might get involved, but we've got really young, crazy kiddos right now, have started a women's book club. And there is somebody from California to people from Texas and Boston in this book club that they've started. And the women have gotten together and they go and do things on their own now. And So whether it's a book club, another one of our clients that came from Florida by way of Argentina, she is huge into soccer and has joined soccer clubs, leagues. I think she was on like 3 teams at one point. It would play 3 games in a single week. So all that to be said, like you have to be extremely intentional about building friendships and communities, because I think one of the things that I've heard from clients that have moved here is that's really been tough and difficult for them is the friends that they've left from, their previous spot or location. And, an example would be, a couple that their kids were in sports. And so like when your kids are going through sports, I see this with my little sister. I mean, she has a friendship group of like 6, 7, 8 parents that they play basketball, football, baseball, and they're always doing things together, and they become really great friends. And you just do that when their kids are young, because you're playing all these different sports. But as your kids grow up, they get more serious about certain sports, and maybe not as often around with like a full day of tournaments or whatever that might be. But this individual, her kiddos are now both, I think, in like upper middle school and high school. And it's not as easy for her to have them join a team and all of a sudden make, 10 different friends. So the question of, is it easy to find friends or communities here in Northern Colorado? I think it'd probably be tough anywhere you go. Fort Collins is no different. And finding a group, however that might be, being intentional. I can tell you, my wife, if you've watched any of our videos, sorry, it's kind of coming in and out. If you've watched any of our videos, the truth about Fort Collins, one of the things that we talk about is diversity. She is a Black woman. And, she has told me how difficult it is for her to find, Black female friends. And I am this, let's just call it a white privileged male, that tells her, well, get on Facebook and start a group, and I'm sure you could figure out, find some friends. And I'm just like speaking because I'm like just blessed to have been born, raised here, and have all the friends in the world that happen to look and sound like I do. And so, that's probably not very fair of me to say or do. And she has not done that, but I know that is something that kind of speaks to her heart. So maybe that's a possibility. Maybe while she was at the track team and at CSU, those friendships were a little bit easier to build, because as the kind of Black population in Fort Collins, I would say, is probably a lot around CSU and the student athletes and things of that nature. So I can't necessarily speak from personal experience, but I would say some of the individuals that have moved here have expressed that it is difficult. But those that are super intentional and deliberate about getting outside of their comfort zones, because I think we're all creatures of habit, and the idea of going and like putting yourself on this team. Another friend from Houston, Jeff, thank you very much for that $200 donation to Dima. I think he's like dodgeball, bowling, pickleball, and he started a business here in Fort Collins. I mean, the dude is getting out there. So, good for you, Jeff, and really, exploring what Fort Collins has to have and offer. And, I think that's something that we can try to help with when we, are working with folks that are moving from all over the country, is, trying to connect those people. We are intentional. We are fortunate. A lot of the people that we work with come by way of our YouTube channel and social media. So they get to know us and they hear me and see me, and they're like, all right, that guy's goofy, but I guess we can work with him. I mean, he's not that bad. So generally speaking, like, they're people of similar interests, age ranges. We worked, up to 60 years old, that are just like, young souls and want to get after it, live this outdoor lifestyle, that are just super cool, coming to, our barbecues, to, we worked with a sophomore who bought a house, and it was his first house. But generally our relationships are, very strong, and we get to become friends. And so we connect those individuals as best as we can, and hold barbecues, hold client appreciation. And so we try to help with that, but I would say that's something to take into consideration. So let's see. I want to see if how we're doing on the GoFundMe. Again, the purpose for this GoFundMe is to raise funds for our video editor, Dima, who happens to live in Ukraine. And all right, let's go. if you just saw that, we are at now above $4,000. So let's check it out and what's going on. So over the last 20 minutes or so. Oh, geez, Stacy, thank you very much. $100. This give right here, this $2,200 is from Sukup Real Estate Services. That is our give. And $20. Jason Whitty, I know that's from Jason. He told me that he was going to drop $20, $50, and then Zach Jordan coming through in the clutch with this $350 give. This is freaking awesome. So we had a goal of $4,000 at the beginning of this and are now at $6,025 that I can't wait to give to Dima. And when I put this together, I was, it was not because he asked, or it was not because he needed it. It was because he is such a good, kind soul that once has asked for anything as far as sympathy or anything. It just continues to deliver projects, smile on his face, always very, very positive. And I was concerned when I told him initially that, we were doing this, because I wanted to make sure that he knew it wasn't because I saw him anything else besides an equal. I see him as somebody who I know is working his butt off to provide for him and his family, and has gone through just this incredibly difficult situation with positivity and strength. So this was just to be supportive and hope that he can take this money and help him and his family and his country, however that might be, survive this just crazy time period in their lives and come out on the other side knowing that, hey, they made the best decisions, not because of any financial constraints, but because they made the best decisions at that time for the safety of their family. So how freaking cool. $6,025 and our goal was $4,000. I can't wait to tell Dima, and I can't wait to, let him know what's happening. So jumping back into some questions and answers. If we are a first-time home buyer, would you wait or buy? Interesting. So today we had a lender come in and talk to us, and a comment that he made was, I think people are going to look back in 2 to 3 years and see that it was one of the best times that they could have bought. Okay. Interesting. I mean, it is difficult to buy right now. One of the conversations that everyone's having are monthly mortgage payments, and with interest rates at 7%, comparatively to 3% a year ago, it definitely makes it difficult to afford that monthly mortgage. We're working with a client right now that's trying to decide whether they should sell their house here in Fort Collins and move to California, which is actually, great. We work with we're with buyers, sellers, investors, all that kind of stuff. But it's a difficult conversation because, yes, he's going to get a $70,000 pay raise, but his mortgage payment in California is going to be basically double what he's currently paying with the interest rate that he has here and the purchase price that he has as well. So that $70,000 raise kind of, it gets nullified a little bit. And these are conversations that everyone's having. What is it that we can afford? And I would say right now we saw rental rates at some of our properties. On our renewals, we increased by 8%. And on our new rentals, we increased the new rental rates by 30%. And probably could have even gone higher. I don't think we were that under market, but apparently we were. We wanted to be very fair to our renewals. We have great tenants. We want to treat them with respect and hope that they understand that, that 8% raise was really CPI. I just replaced the HVAC, a furnace, AC, and water heater, and then put in a mini split at one of my investment properties. $25,000 last month, as far as HVAC goes, or $20,000, sorry, $20,000 as far as HVAC goes. And that water heater that cost me $2,000 probably would have cost me $1,500 a year ago. And, these expenses are directly passed on to us. So we aren't, all we are trying to do is maintain these properties. We are not slumlords. We want to take care of these properties. And so on our renewal rates, we did 8%. And then on our new properties, when they didn't renew, went to market or close to market of 30%. And I think those rental rates are going to continue to rise. There's a pretty decent delta right now between what a $600,000 purchase looks like on a monthly mortgage payment versus if you were to rent that $600,000 house on a rental payment. And I think that delta will get closer and closer by way of rental rates increasing to kind of catch up and meet up with those purchase prices. Now, as far as buying now versus waiting, I think it ultimately does get down to goals. And what those goals have to be are a desire to hold that property, whether that is as an owner or owning it and then turning it into an investment for at least 4 to 5 years. I would say it used to be 3 years. I think right now you need at least 4 to 5 years as far as a goal timeline for you to live in that house, for that to make sense for you to buy. If your timeline is anything shorter, I think it's volatile enough to where the risk reward is not necessarily there. And maybe your money or your investment or your gamble would be better spent on renting for a property for a month or a year versus buying a property knowing that you're only going to be there for 1 or 2 years and then having to sell in a market that might be contracting or things of that nature. Now, real estate is getting back to the basics of location, location, location. And Fort Collins and Northern Colorado continue to be a very desirable place to live. And that being said, I think that there's still going to be a significant amount of people moving here. We don't have a ton of iBuyers, or we do have investors. Don't get me wrong. We absolutely have investors. I'm one of them. And I'm kind of a small fish type deal, but just had lunch with a big fish investor. And but that being said, they're not looking to dump properties. I'm not looking to dump any properties. He's not looking to dump any of his properties today. And we don't have a large iBuyer contingent in Fort Collins to where places like Charlotte, thanks Scott for your information on that, or Phoenix are seeing massive price reductions because these iBuyers are dumping millions of dollars worth of properties in that specific market. So Fort Collins, fortunately, is generally staying pretty strong as far as prices. Now there is some, I think right now, if you were to look at it as a curve, we had gone up at a hockey stick, right? And over the last 2 months, we've curved out and we're trying to figure out where the prices are. And I think they're going to level out more than anything over these next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. I mean, if you bought a house in the last 2 years or last year, and it plateaus for the next 3 to 5 years, you're still going to see the annual average appreciation that Fort Collins is accustomed to seeing, which is about 5.5% annually over the last 50 years since 1970s, comparatively to 15.5% or 22% appreciation. That is absolutely abnormal. So I think there's going to be some really strong stabilization while we, figure out what affordability is, people's incomes, catch up to what those monthly mortgage payments are. But buying a house right now, your goals have to be 4 to 5 years. You have to be comfortable with what that mortgage payment is going to be, because there's a lot of tools and strategies right now, whether it's a 3-2-1 buy down, a 2-1 buy down, or tools like that for people to drop their mortgage payment for the first 2 years by way of seller concessions. So long story short, it's got to be your goal. It's got to be a 4 to 5 year timeline minimum. But yes, buying location, and specifically Northern Colorado, I'm still very, very pro on. All right. Other questions we got. So let's see here. What is the water situation in Fort Collins? Well, we have people move here from California, which they're very concerned with, different lakes there that are at all-time lows and where the water is going to be. I mean, and Colorado is the same way. We have the NISP project and the Glade Reservoir that's going to be built along 287. That's going to be 3 times the size of Horsetooth Reservoir, and will hopefully allow the growth of Fort Collins in Northern Colorado for many years to come. But yeah, we've had some, drought years. And what is the ice pack or the snow pack? And what does that mean for Fort Collins? Fort Collins is growing like crazy. Wellington has a water problem right now. Wellington is north of Fort Collins. It's a small little community, about 15,000 people, but growing astronomically. I mean, crazy growth there. But their water utility bills right now are about 3 times what they normally are because the water treatment facility is not built to accommodate what their current population is. And so they're having to increase these utility rates to help build and expand their water treatment facilities. Fortunately, Fort Collins is very forward thinking. And at this time, I don't see any water issues. One of the things that's unique about Fort Collins that's changed over the last 5 years is a tap fee in lieu of bringing water to developments. You used to be able to pay a tap fee, which you can still do in Loveland, about $70,000 to $80,000 to build a house and bring water to it. Whereas in Fort Collins, Montava just had an article in the paper that suggested that their first phase E, which I think is going to have about 240 or some odd, single family houses, and then another 200 multifamily units. They have they've had to find the water, whether that's from agriculture, different uses, things of that nature, to they basically need to bring the water to those developments, which makes it difficult for developers to build. So Fort Collins is saying, okay, hey, you used to do this, but we're saying now you got to go find it. So yes, there's clearly the discussion of water, and it's a finite resource, and each year can be different. Drought years, snowpacks, things of that nature. I personally like being up there, high in the mountains, right where the water starts, rather than being down there where California is and are reliant upon us being good neighbors. Water rights are a thing, and historical water rights trump lesser, newer water rights. It's a very unique thing. I do not pretend to be a water expert. I read a book called Water Rights for the Non-Lawyer. And I mean, talk about, over the head. I mean, if any realtor starts talking to you about water rights, unless they are doing it on a daily basis, you should probably run. Yeah, they are just spewing garbage because, I mean, and don't get me wrong, maybe they're a lawyer. Maybe their dad was, or mom was, a big farmer, and they knew water backwards and forwards. So, that's probably not necessarily totally fair to say, but I can absolutely tell you that between aquifers and, ditches and all those different things, water rights are extremely unique. And that is why you get a water lawyer to take care of those types of situations, or let the experts handle it. But long story short, clearly there's a water issue by the city of Fort Collins saying, developers, you need to bring the water, and the Glade Reservoir needing to be built and things of that nature, and what the kind of strain on the Poudre River is going to be, and the Big Thompson and things of that nature. But I do think right now we have a city council and a government that is forward thinking, understands the desirability and growth of Fort Collins, and are thinking not just 5 years in advance, but 10, 20, 30 years in advance. So I think generally we're well positioned moving forward. Okay, another question we've got is, I talk a lot about single family residences here in Fort Collins, and not a ton about condos. And there are, condos and townhomes are a great entry level first time home buyer opportunity. So I think it's fair to discuss some of those. And that being said, there is a construction defect law in Colorado, which I don't know the most recent kind of changes to it. So I don't want to talk on that. But historically, what it was it essentially allowed homeowners of condominium complexes to come back on the builder years and years and years in the future for a construction defect, whether that's just stairs, handrails, whatever, you name it. These builders were on the hook for essentially like in perpetuity. And so the risk to build condos specifically was, pretty astronomical. So there are a lot of townhomes that are built, side by side attached dwellings, but not a lot of condos have been built, really at all. I own a condo, which is one of the few condo complexes on the southeast side of town. There are a lot of apartment complexes that have been converted, condominium conversions. And so that's probably why I don't talk about it too often, is because the general client that we're working with do buy single family detached homes. But that being said, I think there are some great opportunities in Fort Collins and Northern Colorado to buy townhomes, specifically in Timnath. Trailside has some great, one of my best friends bought a side-by-side, attached property. And I think it's a great buy for them. So, generally speaking, if you want any specific information on condos, I'd be happy to let you know. I own a condo, like I said, on the southeast side of town. HOAs can differ what they cover, where is it? Kind of over by Collindale, there are some townhome condos that provide internet, TV, pay for gas, electric, water, and you're basically getting all of your utilities paid for without having to pay those them yourself. So their HOA expenses are pretty high, but your other expenses are pretty low. So you have to take into consideration what the HOA is paying for, and is that worth it? Okay, I want to take another opportunity right now. Again, the goal for today isn't to talk to you necessarily. Yes, we're talking about live questions and answers about moving to Fort Collins, Colorado. I'm happy to answer any of those, but really the focus is to raise money for my video editor, Dima, and his family. We connected 3 years ago when I very quickly learned that I am terrible at editing video, and that if I had to do it, I was not going to do it. So I would send initially, and because he doesn't speak, I'm going to send you guys, I'm going to show you guys a video here in just a quick minute of Dima talking to you guys about what kind of is going on there and him saying thank you. But he didn't talk the best English 3 years ago. He has gotten so good, especially listening to me. I don't know if I say anything funky or weird. I'm sure I do, but he has gotten it to where whatever I say, he is able to transcribe it perfectly. And that being said, I would send him a video in a Google Drive, and I would send him a video in a Google Drive, and with a script, essentially word for word what I said, so that he knew exactly where it was going to go, what I was going to do, and that's all I would do. And he'd send me these beautiful videos back, and I wouldn't have any edits. I think of the over 200 some odd videos that he has edited for me, I think I've had maybe a couple corrections. I mean, very, very minimal as far as corrections, and less than 5. I can promise you that, less than 5. When he sends me a video, he has spent time and energy and effort, and he over delivers on every one of his videos. And so we grew this relationship over the last 3 years, and we were working with each other on a weekly basis. We talk every single week. And this year, Ukraine had Russia invade them, and his world got completely turned upside down. And they had to move from the east side of the country to the west side of the country. He asked me to prepay him for a few videos, which he had never done in the 3 years working together. He asked me to prepay him for 3 videos. And then on the backside, not telling me what it was for, just saying, hey, Patrick, would you please be willing to prepay me for these videos? I'll make sure to get them all to you on time, delivered. I had no concerns, and I knew that he was going to be able to do that for me. And absolutely. So I paid him for those 3 videos. And on the backside, he sent me a message that said, hey, I bought a generator, and this is in the event that our power goes out or we lose internet because the Russians shot another rocket to blow up our power plant. I can't even imagine, like, how lucky are we that most everyone who is on here listening to this video are living. I just had lunch at Island Grill with a friend on the patio while our dog was out there, drinking water. While this amazing person on the opposite side of the world is essentially hearing rockets and gunshots and having, their entire country in war, where in one day, 500 Russians died and 90 or 75 Ukrainians died. And that's just the conversation that's their brothers, sisters, friends, family, the 20 million people that have stayed behind in Ukraine who are staying there to fight, hold the lines. And it is just amazing that he still is sending me projects first and foremost. So I've told him time and time again, if there's ever a time that you can't do this, please let me know and I can do whatever I can do to help. But when he sent me that message, it was a conversation on our Tuesday morning meetings with our team at Sukup Real Estate Services that, okay, we've been trying to figure out what our goal, our give's going to be this year. Let's make that give Dima and his family. So we put together, what the funds were going to be that we we're going to give, and then decided, let's leverage this up. Let's level this up. Let's allow people who know our story to give to Dima. So before I show you what the current GoFundMe is at, I want to show you guys this video of Dima and what he said.
Hey Patrick, hello everyone. My name is Dima. I'm from Ukraine. I'm video editor. I've known Patrick for the last 3 years. I really appreciate our friendship and partnership. We create with him and your team cool videos about life in Fort Collins and Northern Colorado. I was very excited when I found out that Patrick organized a fundraiser to support me and my family. Thank you very much for this. We really appreciate this. We live in Zaporizhia when Russia launched a full-scale war against Ukraine. Now, my family and I have moved to Lviv, and I hope that we'll be safer here. But the shelling of civilian infrastructure and initial attacks of civilian population doesn't stop. I would like to thank our soldiers who defend our freedom and our right to live in free Ukraine. We'll hope that this war will end soon. Thank you so much, Patrick, your family, your team, and thanks to each of you for your support. We really appreciate this. Thank you so much.
So hopefully you guys on YouTube or Facebook saw that and heard that. I know Zach was saying that he couldn't see it on Instagram, but this is Instagram, so sorry I couldn't necessarily play it. But that's Dima, and right now I want to show you guys what we are sitting at as far as the give. Again, our goal, we gave $2,250 as a company to Dima, but our goal was $4,000, and right now we are at $6,000 of this $4,000 goal. And just it's incredible that everybody has shown support and is wanting to be a part of this in just some small ways. I think our smallest give was $10, and our largest give, not including ourselves, was $500, and we had a handful of 400, 500, 200, 200, 100, so I mean, just incredible support. And when I am done with this YouTube live, I promise to do an hour. So I am dragging because I do want to allow people the opportunity to provide and give. Again, one of the things that I'm going to post it again, the GoFundMe is in the comments. Looks like we got some interesting, I don't know, hackers or something in the comments. But anyways, now there is another link in the comments to, if you do feel it in your heart to provide, to give $5, $10, whatever that might be. We have already reached our goal of $4,000, far exceeded it by 50%. We're at $6,000. That will be sent to Dima and his family as soon as this broadcast is complete. And I can't wait. I thought we were going to be at $5,000 when things were kind of trending that way, and now we're at $6,000. So to everybody who is watching this, who've stuck around, thank you very much. For everyone who's moved here to Northern Colorado and put your trust in me and my team, Dima is part of that team. I mean, he really, truly is. There's no Living in Fort Collins YouTube channel without Dima. There's no social media presence on Instagram without Dima. And there's no all of the successful transactions that we've worked with, from people from Germany. We're working with people from Israel to Morocco, Thailand, the UK, Austin, Boston, North Dakota, South Dakota, South Carolina, North Carolina. I mean, literally, it is insane how many people we've worked with from all over the country and world. And we've built this small brokerage, powerhouse brokerage and Sukup Real Estate Services that Connor Martin crushing it. If you haven't, subscribed or watched his channel, it's Northern Colorado Living. His goal for the next year is to put out one video a week. And Dima is going to be editing those videos. And we can't wait to continue to provide income for Dima and returns for some extreme value from his side of things. And then from there, Zach Jordan, he's been with me the longest, since 2016. He has been kind of my ride or die. And it was just, the small brokerage in 2016. It was just me. The reason I started my company was just, to have the freedom and flexibility to do things the way that I wanted to do them. Put my name on my shirt because I wanted to always make sure that I had, the respect and responsibility of upholding and maintaining my family's name, doing business the right way. And Zach took a risk with me in 2016, has been with me since, and he's been crushing it this year, and he's going to crush it again next year. I have no doubt about it. And then Izzy is my full-time assistant, and now she's starting to produce on the real estate side of things. She crushes. She is an extremely hard worker. She is far beyond her years as far as maturity. She started with me just while she was a senior in college, working to pay her way through college at Silver Grill and other jobs, and then came and worked for me after Silver Grill because she wanted to kind of do more of marketing in preparation for her job after college. Well, I quickly learned how vital of an asset she was and how strong of a worker. And she continues to grow, wants to be better, and puts her trust in me and in my company. And I have this incredibly amazing responsibility to provide for my family and for my company and pay contractors and maintain properties and have these great relationships. I am extremely blessed, and I am just so grateful that I can give, along with Connor, Zach, Izzy, Ashley, those funds to Dima in just our small way to try to make an impact on their life and his family life. So I just wanted to say, thank you for everybody who follows us and supports us along this journey. I don't have any other questions at this time. We're at about 52 minutes. If anybody has any other questions, rather than me sitting here with kind of like, I'm sure I've got like boogers in my nose or something funky, or I actually, one thing's kind of interesting. I have like these really rogue hairs that go, and I'd say it's kind of like a personal, do I have anything that just looks goofy sitting there kind of like sticking out? I'm sure I do half the videos. So I appreciate you guys not being too judgmental about my goofy looks or funny voice. But yeah, if you guys have any other questions, while I'm going, I'll be here for another. I'm just gonna hold out. Firdos. Okay, tell me. I got it spelled phonetically in the comments how to pronounce your name, because you are awesome to the channel. You ask great questions. I do have in my to-dos a kind of a fitness, what there is to do as families here in Fort Collins video planned. Earlier in the video, I talked about Jeff and how involved he is. I'm like, all right, man, you came here, just totally crushed it, got involved. And so I'm excited to do that video, but thank you very much for your very generous gift. And, just over the last hour, we've raised, or a couple hours, I should say, we've raised probably another $1,000. And so it's just super, super cool. And I know Dima is going to use these funds wisely, and it's going to make an amazing impact on his family. Firdos, is that am I saying it right? Firdos. So are there any co-working space? Are there any co-working spaces in Fort Collins? Yes, actually, there's a one downtown. There's a few, not a ton, but there's a few, and there's a few more kind of in the books coming here. Spaces downtown you can rent by the office. or you can rent by the desk. But it is I would say it's been an uphill battle for co-working spaces because maybe just not the density downtown where people need or demand that. There are some private executive offices that are really super affordable. I actually managed a portfolio of them for about, which there was about 70 or so private offices, and you can rent them for anywhere between, $300 a month to $1,000 a month. Now, once you get to the amenities, weren't super, super sexy. Desk chair in Loveland. I don't know what that means. There wasn't any super, super sexy amenities with those offices. And when you go to places like Spaces and things of that nature, there's lots of Zoom options. There's like this one owl camera and microphone that, and then there's like a receptionist and all these kind of different things. So yes, there are co-working spaces. And let's see here. Thanks, Jerry. No, you do too. I mean, man, I appreciate your give and you and your family and your daughter, and excited for her to be here at CSU. So thank you very much. But and again, I appreciate you and your family. But yes, there are co-working spaces and also private offices, very affordable. Definitely feel free to reach out to me. I can connect you with some different ideas or places. Oh, gotcha. Desk chair in Loveland. Great co-space in downtown Loveland. Love it. There you go. Zach just coming in the clutch. Yep. And then Mr. Abdulaziz. And I'll give a shout out to Mr. Abdulaziz too. So he is also doing some videography for us and video editing. And he is this young kid who is just absolutely crushing it. I love to build a strong team, and he is absolutely becoming an integral part of that. And one of the things that I told Mr. Abdulaziz when he came in to work with us, and he came into our office, sat down with us, 19-year-old kid, super professional. I said, that's great. We will absolutely use you, because we were kind of looking for somebody who has kind of a better eye visual for kind of how video should look and play and things of that nature, and then subsequently edit that. But I told him, I said, 100%, we will still always use Dima. And I can't wait. I'm curious how long this relationship goes and where it evolves to. I mean, if we were to do a trip to Ukraine sometime in the, far future when it's, safe for our family, which is like so selfish of me to say that, right? Like, I'm going to move, I'm going to take a trip there when it's safe for me. But yet, this, young man is living there on a day-to-day basis with his family, hearing rockets go off. So, but eventually one day, how cool would that be? I know, Janae, when, we get to that time in our life where maybe the kids are out of school, things of that nature, we are absolutely going to travel all over the world. And I really, really hope that me and Dima's relationship maintains, grows, flourishes, gets better, that, everything that we can do makes each other stronger. And one day, we can sit down, have a cup of coffee together, and just, give each other a huge hug, because he has absolutely been an integral part of my success and our success here at Sukup Real Estate Services and the Living in Fort Collins YouTube channel and our Instagram page. So I am absolutely grateful for him. And I know that, he is appreciative of our relationship. So this give to him, this GoFundMe that we have now raised over $6,000, $6,067, is absolutely going to be something that I can't wait to give to him. So we are on our final 2 minutes of our video, and just again want to say thank you. Firdaus and Mr. Abdulaziz, we got a friendship brewing over here. So, the question earlier in the channel was, how is it to build communities and relationships? And so, YouTube channel, just matchmaker, baby. We are just going at it. But no, I appreciate you guys, commenting, engaging, and everybody who's stuck around. We had about 8 to 10 people pretty much the entire time watching this video. So if you haven't had a chance, I'll do it one last time. I want to add to the stream and just real quick show you guys Dima one last time before.
Hey Patrick, hello everyone. My name is Dima. I'm from Ukraine. I'm video editor. I've known Patrick for the last 3 years. I really appreciate our friendship and partnership.
Zach, join
We
us
create
on,
with him and your team cool videos
YouTube.
about life
Thanks for the
in
video.
Fort Collins and Northern Colorado. I was very excited when I found out that project organized a fundraiser to support me and my family. Thank you very much for this. We really appreciate this. We live in Zaporizhia when Russia launched a full-scale war against Ukraine. Now, my family and I have moved to Lviv, and I hope that we'll be safer here. But the shelling of civilian infrastructure and missile attacks of civilian population doesn't stop. I would like to thank our soldiers who defend our freedom and our right to live in free Ukraine. We'll hope that this war will end soon. Thank you so much, Patrick, your family, your team, and thanks to each of you for your support. We really appreciate this. Thank you so much.
So thank you everybody for contributing. That is our hour here on Living in Fort Collins, live question and answer, moving to Fort Collins, and this GoFundMe fundraiser for Dima and his family. Huge thanks, and appreciate each of you guys. So cool. All right, I'm done because I don't want to cry on here. So thank you everybody.